Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here on the channel. So, as you can tell, we are in the Redstone world today, and we're going to be building up Bingo. That's right, guys. So, as I'm sure you've seen, Bingo in Minecraft is kind of becoming a thing that you're seeing a lot of different streamers and content creators, that's the word, doing. And they're all using plugins. So they're starting off in a new world with generally small biomes. And there's a plugin for collecting each item that you're given on your card. It's, to my knowledge, still kind of random in terms of what you have to find. But you go and you get it, and the first team or player to get all of their items, getting a bingo, wins. Our friend Mr. Frogger, who, if you're familiar with other series on my channel, specifically the Northern Lights SMP, you would know who Frogger is. You can as well go and check out his channel so you can learn even more about who he is. I highly recommend. He asked about possibly building up a bingo system in survival. And so that's kind of what we have going on here behind us, is a couple renditions of a potential bingo system. Our goal is to have it so it will turn on the lights. We'll set it up as we tried with this one over here, with 9 lights to start with, being 9 specific items. But we also want it to have a randomizer. So you get a random card every time you play. So part of it's a challenge, and I don't really know how to do yet, and that would be to show you what your card is without having to go into the redstone itself, which you need to be able to do so that we can label the items. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit tricky, but we'll see what we can come up with. The first thing that we need is some kind of toggle system or sorting system. So I think the sorting system we're going to go with is this one over here. I don't know who first came up with it, but it's very similar to the design by Impulse. Just it uses a double repeater, and you use a non-stackable, so you only actually need one of your item, and then the next one will sort it through, as long as you have 3 other non-stackables. And so that's handy for our purposes, because it means it should be fairly easy to dump that item after the fact. So we're going to start by building up this exact system here, and we'll do it over here. Okay, so we have 9, and then so that's for the comparator, 2 dots of redstone. And then we have 1 line here. Oh, sorry. 3 dots of redstone, not 2. And then under here, we need 2 here. And we'll put our comparators in now while it is easier to manage. Comparators, repeaters, words are difficult from time to time. So we have our comparators. I did it again. So we have our repeaters in there. And now we put our block behind. And we need redstone. So put that out. So the reason we do 4 here is that comparators will only send out a 4 high signal in that one case, and it prevents the overflow because you're not going to get to a 5th dot of redstone or a strength of 5 out of that system with that amount of items if it was to fill to max. So Now we put in our comparators, as opposed to trying to call these things repeaters, right? That's what we've been doing all along. And that is the base sorting system. Once we get the torches put in here. Okay. And these ones are the ones we will put in that sorting for. And we need 2 more of those. Creative inventory is not what I'm used to sorting through. So we need an item that is stackable that we're never going to put through the system. So I think buttons will do. Okay, so our buttons are all in. So this thing is a sorter now. We will stick the hoppers like this on this one. And we need 1 line of hoppers on the outside here. Also, can somebody tell me why the chest is in the decoration block? Because I have a lot more use for it in Redstone than I do the trap chest. Just like they need a functional category. And we'll put the line of hoppers across the top here as well, so that we can run items through it over the top of the sorter. And we need the items that fall into the collection to be able to go back to here to get recycled. Need a better way to do this. Cool. Actually, I did that wrong. We don't want that to feed into there. We want them to still feed this way, because we don't want them to just automatically push along. Instead, we want another line to suck the item out of there. Specifically, this line. And we need our good old redstone repeater again. And yes. Okay. So we actually need to stagger these because we don't want them to set off each unit. So the easiest way to do it is to have comparators on all of them, but then every second one, we use a additional repeater. Because when we have our droppers put in here, we need it so that we power the top dropper. When powering the top dropper, we actually additionally power the bottom. So if we have these units side by side, powering this top one would actually fire the top one next to it, which we don't want. We definitely want to avoid that, as it would cause our system to either give false indications of lights turning on or turn off lights that have already been turned on. Now, we're already going to have that built in because I personally like the idea that if you are playing bingo, you only need 1 of each. And if you accidentally forget that you put 1 in, which you shouldn't because you will have a light board turn on, and put in 1 of the same item, then it will reset on you. And then either yourself or your teammates can be irritated at you and not irritated, that's not really the right word, but you can kind of poke fun at yourself for it, because we all make mistakes, and why not just enjoy them and use it as an additional component in the game to have a bit of fun. Okay, so the next thing we need for this particular T flip-flop is a comparator on each, which actually gives us our output. So we've got our output on each now, and we need an item in each line. So back to buttons, because they won't be coming into the system, and I apparently missed this one. Okay. So what we do is we put a button in the bottom one of each T. So when an input comes in, the bottom one will fire it into the top dropper, and therefore you'll get a signal out of the comparator, and it'll turn on the light. When another signal comes through, it'll fire, but there's nothing in the bottom one now. The item's in the top one. So the top one will actually drop out. This hopper will pick it up and put it instantly back into the bottom and reset the system. I should have used other colors here, because we want each individual one to be a different color line. So it goes into here, and that goes into there, into there, into there. We put repeaters on. So now we start a redstone torch tower. And we can do another line because we want our lights to be off until we manually turn them on. And that goes here. And then in order to make sure that each torch only turns on one light, we put another layer of solid blocks on top before we take a lamp, and we put that lamp specifically on top. So now, as you can see here, if we were to have this one come on, the light comes on. Now we just need to wire in these other ones into this system. So the easiest thing I think to do here, what we were doing over there, and that's to have this line here to actually be the back 3 lights, not the center 3 lights, because that'll give us more room to take this one down and loop it back around. Whereas if we run this one over, then we have to make the system actually a little bigger to run the redstone. So if we make this unit here green, we'll take our green line and actually bring it out and back to here. Pink will go like this. And gray like this. So now let's get out our next 3 colors in this line, which are light gray, cyan, and purple. So for this one, we need to actually lower our torch tower. So if we do the same kind of thing, so light gray, then cyan, then purple, light gray will actually be this one, cyan, purple. And now down here, we need to do the same. So gray, cyan, purple. We'll actually drop this by 1 more. And purple. So now our torch tower is back to being even, and if we have our lights up here, they're out. So this should be the main part of the bingo system in. Like I said, we'll just grab this real quick. Mark off what each one is. So if we put another chest over here as an input line, and everything is done correctly, we should be able to go in. We have 1 of each of the colored walls here. I Yes, we do. We want the magenta in first. Then we want the light blue, the yellow, green, pink, gray, light gray, cyan, purple. And when putting them in that order, they should fill the first available hopper and match their colors, which so far it works perfectly. So now we don't have any more, so we want at least one more of each. There we go. So now the next one that we put through should get sorted into the system. We should see this line down here blink to slow the item down through this upper here long enough that this can fire and then set off our light. So when we put it in, we'll put in the magenta one first here, just so we can see it. There you go. Light blinked, signal went through, and magenta 1 is on. And if you notice, magenta is still sorted, and that particular item that was deposited made it all the way to the chest on the end, which is good. So if we take a random one like gray, we should see the gray one flick, and dark gray, or dark gray, just gray, light is on. And now, shouldn't matter if we flick them all. You might have to actually wait a minute. They're all on. And we have one of each in the chest. So that works great. Now, we said we wanted to build in a thing in case somebody put in an extra one that they shouldn't have. So there's already a pink in there. So if somebody came back and just in a rush accidentally threw in another pink, oh, light went out. So you've double dabbed, we'll call it. Double dabbing would not be a good thing. So we don't need that. In order to clear this line, we need a way to unlock this system. We'll put a chest, say, here. Put a hopper into that chest. Put a hopper here. Here. We'll put a chest here. Put an item through, you'll dump the filter. So that was faster. We have all three buttons. 3, 3, 3. That worked. Sweet. Okay. So we have a reset and we have an item sorter. And using this, we don't need to randomize into this unit like we talked about in the beginning. Instead, I think we just build a secondary unit as a randomizer. What, Ray? You reset like everybody else. Why no fire? Oh, because you don't have a button. You don't have a button. Don't know what happened to your button. But let's take all of these out so that we can flick the light one more time and make sure we don't lose any buttons. Because if we do, that's a slight problem that we're going to need. Okay. All the sorters are set. And blue is in here. Cyan. You dumped, but you didn't reset your light. That is troublesome. Oh, and there was Grace's button. Oh, there were a few buttons. So is the hopper here locking? Is that what's happening? Because purple just spit out its button as well. Only way I could see is if we actually did something like this. Just throw on a bigger amount of delay on those to make sure this one's actually shut off before the next one. Let's try that real quick. It's on. And so that additional delay all fired and went on. No, I mean, nobody's button's missing, but the button missing won't be a problem until the next slot. And now let's see what happens. That fixed that problem. It did create 2 separate fires, but we don't have any loose buttons. Problem solved, and as a result, we probably don't need that second hopper because it should work as intended. There you guys have it. A doable Minecraft survival bingo redstone contraption. And all you have to do is find a way to randomize your items, or you can give a specific card that you want and just place the items into this chest or a way to get items into this hopper line. To 1, set the card, and 2, actually deliver your items to play the game. And then just create this kind of a pulse system to depower it and clear the card once your game is finished. So guys, all in all, I hope you liked this rendition of Mini's Redstone. I know it's a bit of a different one. It wasn't the same kind of planning that we were doing when we built up those systems over there, which I've recently kind of realized that part of what I built is way oversized, and the thing that I've been trying to picture in my head and do is a lot simpler than what I built. So we're probably going to touch back on those in the future. I definitely have a couple updates to make to them, but we might not do that in a Mini's Redstone episode. We might do that when we eventually build them in world. I think the next Mini's Redstone that we have coming for a SMP plan is for our diamond counter for our runway. So you guys can keep an eye on the channel for that, and I'm really looking forward to building it. As I said in the last episode, and as this video as I said in the last episode, and we have this video as a result, let me know if you guys have any ideas on redstone contraptions that you would like to see built, and I would love to try and make them for you and build up either a Mini's Redstone episode where you just see my process in trying to come up with the ideas, or more of a tutorial build. I think this was definitely a bit of a mix of both. And if you guys want to see a more in-depth tutorial, I can certainly try and do that as well. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you have any contraption ideas, and yeah, just any general feedback. I'd love to hear it. So, other than that, you guys know the drill. Like this video if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next episode.